what I will do today is I will share with you about 24 strategies that you can actually use and implement in your own life on a day-to-day basis. And if you practice this, then nobody in the world can stop you from being successful. Dr. Robert Schuller writes a very good book, Success is Never Ending, Failure is Never Final. I would encourage you, to read a book like that. Success for different people can be different. Okay? Now, success for a student can be to imbibe good values, good ethics, good character, okay? Good morals. It just doesn't mean getting good marks. That is just one part of it. But then there's a whole lot of the other software that needs to be imbibed and built. Success for, a married couple could just be living a happy married life together for a long time. Success for a sick person can just be to overcome sickness, get well. Okay? So success for different people can be different, all right? You need to actually identify what success means to you. You need to be very, very specific. Write it down. Don't make blanket statements and don't requote somebody else who has, has made a quotation out of success. Write down what is success to you. It can be anything, but it's specific to you, okay? And there are many ways, how you can achieve success, how you can become successful. Today I will go through about 24 strategies that you can actually implement. But some of the ways are, you can be purpose driven. If you want to be successful, you need to have a laser beam focus on your goals. You need to learn how to set goals and how to achieve them. Unfortunately, a lot of good things that are basically needed for one's own personal development are not taught in schools and colleges today. Schools and colleges don't teach you how to set goals. Schools and colleges don't teach you how to achieve goals. Okay? There is a process. This process does not form a part of any curriculum. Recently, I did a 6-month training program. We called it a practical leadership development program for the youngsters from my school alumni. Those who are in the 0 to 5 years working life. And we had people from all faculties. There were people from animal husbandry, Ayurvedic doctors, software writers, entrepreneurs, business owners, and there were people working in other industries. There's so many of them. And we just completed this program. And part of this learning was, it was not a big classroom session. It was a small one-day session in a month. But they had to go practice it and they had to come back and tell us how they have practiced it. And the result is, some of them have got promoted already. Our goal in doing this program was to help these youngsters climb 2 rungs in their corporate ladder in 3 years. Some of them already climbed the first ladder, and some of them have been identified as, the most excellent worker in their own work area, in their own companies like Bosch and other places. Okay? And what did we teach them? Very, very fundamentals. How to set a goal, how to achieve a goal, what is this process, how to actually execute a process of achieving something, completing a task very successfully, well before time, and fundamental stuff like this. There's a whole lot of stuff we taught them. We built a 24-page syllabus on this and did that. But this is my big point. You see, everybody knows a goal. Everybody knows he has to set a goal. And everybody knows, if you ask, everybody says, yes, I know what my goals are. But the truth is, hardly anybody sets goals. Hardly anybody has goals in life. They have some thinking which they confuse for a goal. They have some things which are told to them by somebody which they think should be our goals, but they are not their own. Okay? So be purpose driven, remain focused. No, go back. Your focus needs to be like a laser beam if you want to succeed. It's very critical. Do things that you have never done before. Don't hesitate. Don't be afraid. There are too many naysayers in this world. There are too many people who will tell you why you cannot do it. There will be very few people who will say, yes, you can do it. Okay? You will fail number of times. That's a good thing if you want to succeed. But failure is good only if you learn out of failure. If you don't learn out of failure, that is defeat. Failure is good, defeat is not good. Okay? Learn to see life with a different perspective. There's a good book, I think it is called Go-Getter. Yes, I think it's called Go-Getter. It's all about how a different perspective can change things. And there are any number of stories in that. And if you get a chance, get hold of this book and read it. I will tell you, see life through different eyes. You need a different perspective to succeed. You must remember this, your present perspective has got you to where you are. It may not be good enough, or it definitely will not be good enough to get you where you want to go. You need a different perspective. See it through different eyes. Learn to make mistakes, like I said, but learn out of these mistakes. Make mistakes. It's good to make mistakes. It's good to make mistakes, but you must understand from these mistakes. You must learn from these mistakes. Okay? That adds value to you. Never fear the unknown. Don't fear something you don't know. Unless you go there and explore, you'll never know. If you can get hold of these books, try and read them, you know. This book on the left side called The Success Journey is an amazing book by, I think, John Maxwell is the author. Yes, it is John Maxwell. A tremendous book. He actually guides you in the thinking process of how, you know, the attitudes that you can develop to really become successful. And when everything goes wrong, when everything, you know, nothing is going right, you should pick up that book on the right side. That's the second best book I have read in my life. Highly motivating. I've used that book in a lot of my consulting work where I have had to turn around companies. It's a big, huge motivator. Okay? So there are any number of books like this. Cultivate the habit of learning, okay, reading. A lot of times you hear this talk about your surroundings, your environment, etc., etc. But the only environment that you can ever fashion yourself in is in the environment of your mind. This is the only environment that you will ever live in. What's going on inside here is your real environment. You are only surrounded by this, what's going on inside, not by what is physically outside. Okay? And if you want to enrich this, there are only two things that can enrich this. One is the books you read, and second is the people that surround you. If you have got negative speaking people surrounding you, that is what you become. But if you have got very positive people surrounding you, that is what you can become. Okay? When you read a book, there is some magic that happens, because when you are reading, you know, there is some magic that happens in your thought process, in your mind as you are reading, and it helps you create that environment. Very, very important if you want to become successful. Okay? A lot of people, when something does not work, there will be any number of people who will say, either say, look, I told you, it doesn't work, it's not going to work, or you don't have the intelligence, or it's just your limitation in some form. The only limitation you can put on yourself is the limitation you put on your mind. And the only one who can do that is you, nobody else. Okay? What anybody says really does not matter, provided you have that singular mind and that singular goal, like a laser beam, wanting to succeed in life, right? You must learn to overcome fear of criticism, fear of taking risk, fear of losing self-confidence, fear of doing it for the second time. If you have failed, what does it mean? Whatever you have thought and the way you have approached what you have done is not right. So redo it in a different way. If you want to reinforce, to understand what you have done is not right, do it again the second time. If you get the same result, understand that process or that thinking behind that process is not right. It's just that. So learn to recognize failure and don't lose out to that failure. Overcome failure, right? It's very important to have a vision. Okay, what's a vision? A vision is how far you want to see ahead for yourself in your life, in your career. Okay? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, what do you want to see yourself as? The first day when I walked into Mysore Kirloskar here, I had that dream and that vision that one day I wanted to be the number one person in this factory, in this organization. 15 years later, my dream or my vision was achieved. Okay? But in between, whatever I'm going to share with you is a lot of this I had actually to do. So have this vision. What do you want to be 5 years from now, 15 years from now? And this can be, not just in your career, it can also be in your family life. What do you want your family to be? What do you want your career to be? What do you want to be doing 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now? Because always remember this book of Martin Ford. And I don't know when that situation will come, that automation will disrupt a lot of jobs. And when it disrupts a lot of jobs, where would you be? Learn to set a goal. This is quite a big subject actually, to learn to set a goal. I don't know, maybe someday you will have somebody come and teach you this. How to make a goal statement, how to actually set a goal. Believe me, 9 out of 10 people or 99 out of 100 people don't know this process. But there is magic in this process. There is something that connects with your left brain when you actually go through this process. Learn to set a goal. A goal must have a deadline. And between setting the goal and the deadline, there is a lot of work to be done to achieve that. Okay? But learn to set this goal. Let the goals that you set stretch you a little bit. You need to go a little beyond yourself. You cannot be in your comfort zone and set a goal in your comfort zone. That is not a goal. Okay? Learn to manage your time. If all of you here actually write down a chart from the time you get up in the morning to the time you go back to bed at night, just write down the time and the activity that you did. And from that chart, try to add up those timings which have actually added value to your life. Those little timings where you have actually learned something that has added to your growth. Have you grown? You see, every day we grow biologically, we age. But do you actually grow personally? Do you have a personal growth every day? If you biologically grow every day, should you have a personal growth every day or not? How is that going to happen? So analyze your daily timetable. Write down, what do you do from the time you get up in the morning to the time you sleep. And if you add all those little timings that actually add value to you, have made you grow, you will understand in a 24-hour period how much time in that day has actually made you grow personally. What happens to the rest of the time? Rest of the time you're busy. You're talking. Maybe even you're sitting here and chit-chatting. Okay? But are you doing anything that is adding value to you? Are you wasting your time? If you are wasting most of your time in a day by what you think entertains you, do you think that is going to help you grow in life, succeed in life? That will become your limitation. That will limit you. These things are very tricky, but they are very true. Even as we breathe, and we breathe pollutants, that can stress us. There are a lot of things that can happen during a day that can cause stress. It's very important to learn how to handle stress, how to de-stress. If you go on loading stress every day, you get stressed. When you get stressed, what happens? The mind stops to work. And when the mind stops to work, your growth stops. You always need to keep that mind fresh. And so you must learn, ways how to de-stress. And you can de-stress on a daily basis, right? Doing something physical, playing sports, meditation, yoga, there are any number of these techniques that can help you de-stress. So as you upload every day the stress, also learn to download the stress every day. Okay? Success needs building relationships. You can't just by yourself become successful. You might be good in what you do. But if you want to really become successful, you need to build relationships. You need to be in the company of successful people. Okay? People who have worked on themselves to become successful. And they can also teach you how to become successful. This is something I find most lacking today. Communication skills. Most people are not able to communicate clearly what they want. This is a great skill. If you want to grow, you must develop communication skill. You must develop articulation skills. What to say, how to say, when to say. Today, bulk of the world is English speaking. And India used to at one time produce people who spoke very good English, excellent English, because the schools, use the Wren and Martin grammar book to teach grammar. Today, that has been thrown out of the window. And the crop that I see today, people are not able to speak English fluently. The need to speak English is, today it's become more of a global language. People go out to other countries to work. And if you can't communicate properly, imagine the kind of impression you would create there. If you go to get a job done, if you go and apply for a job overseas, and you can't communicate, do you think you will stand chances of getting that job? No, you won't. So, develop communication skills, okay? If your English is not very good, I'm not saying you should not learn other languages. You should learn every possible language you can. But when you are going out in the world, if there is a common language that mostly gets used to communicate, get good at it, because you have to articulate in that language. You have to communicate in that language. You have to make yourself clearly understood in that language. Okay? Get good at it. Communication skills. Motivation. How many of you are really motivated? I don't know how many of you are motivated, but a lot of people think motivation is something that should be given to you. Somebody should motivate you. No, that is not motivation. Motivation is an inside thing. If you really want to succeed, you want to be a leader of tomorrow in whatever form, in any organization, your own business or whatever, you need that internal motivation. Lot of things are going to go wrong. And if you don't have that internal motivation, then it is going to suck you down. Any external motivation is very temporary. It will last for a time and it is gone. It won't be there afterwards. And you can't, it's not like a balloon. You're not like a balloon. Every time the balloon loses air, you pump air into it to keep it bloated. No, motivation is not like that. You must motivate yourself. You must learn to motivate yourself. Enthusiasm is an inside thing. It's an internal thing. You have to be enthusiastic always. Okay, that will help you keep yourself motivated. Do you want to become a leader of any sort tomorrow? A leader, somebody whom, a whole lot of others will look up to. You need to develop the qualities of leadership. Before I close, I will show you a window where you can actually go and assimilate a lot of this information about how to build yourself into becoming a leader. But remember, it's so important that everything rises and falls with a leader. And if you go back in history, you will see countries have risen with a leader. Countries have fallen when there is no leader. Organizations have risen when there is a leader. Organizations have fallen when there is no leader. Families have risen when there is a leader. Families have fallen when there is no leader. Okay? So remember this, and I'll show you later what all you need to do so that you can build yourself into becoming a leader. When things are not going to work for you the way you want it to work, what will you do? Will you persist or will you quit? If you have a strong belief, or if you have a goal, the goal is very strong, and you're not succeeding. So what will you do? Change your path? Yes, that is all right. But you need to persist. You need to persist. The more you persist, the greater are the chances that you will succeed. The lesser you persist, it means the sooner you quit. And quitters never win, and winners never quit. Right? So, develop the ability to persist, persevere, Don't give it up. Never say die. Do you have a dream? Do you have a dream? And you know what? 15 years later, this dream was done. So, at that time I thought that was a very big dream to dream. Okay? Because people retired being unable to fulfill these kind of dreams. But if you are able to develop these qualities that I am sharing today with you, then you can actually meet your dreams or fulfill your dreams much before your own expectation. Okay? So dream big. Dream big. Don't dream while you're sleeping. Dream while you're awake. There's a difference. Okay? Your night dreams are different. This is daydreams. And learn to read books. I know that youngsters of today hardly read any books. If you don't read good books, believe me, you are not really growing. One part of what you learn when you come to a college is you learn the syllabus, subjects, and that part of all those subjects, correct? But the other side that you need to grow is in your own personality, is to develop yourself, is to enrich yourself from where you are. Get hold of this book, Magic of Thinking Big. You know, I try to read this book at least once every year. I call it my life textbook. And you know what I found in this book? The reason why I go back to this book every year? David Schwartz, who did 20 years research before he wrote this book, in that book he writes about a disease that all of us have. And that disease is called, anybody has read this? You know what that disease is called? Excusitis. We all have excuses and reasons for what we don't want to do, for what we don't like to do, for what we don't want others to do. Because if somebody else is doing something and he is succeeding, we don't like to see somebody else succeeding. So we try to penetrate his mind with those excuses and make him believe that, right? So excusitis. So read good books. There are tons and tons of good books that you can read to grow. When you learn to stay focused on your dream, you will also learn the sense of direction. No distractions. You have to keep all the distractions away. Just stay focused, on your goal. There will be a lot of people who will distract you. Remember this. People don't like to see you succeed. The best of your friends, the best of your family, or the nearest and dearest ones to you, the people you know most, don't like to see you succeed. The reason is they are comfortable with you the way you are and where you are. But when you succeed and go to a different platform, they feel discomforted. They don't like that. So they like to keep you down. Okay? Remember this. Develop a clear sense of direction. You are heading towards your goal, where you want to go. You want to succeed. If in the coming years, if automation is going to take over all the jobs, imagine what are you going to do? Are you going to sit, think and innovate something where you can beat the trend, you can be different, or you want to be part of that crowd that gets disrupted with what may happen tomorrow? If it is the second part, then why are you doing today what you are doing? Because you are going to be part of it anyway. Okay? So I hope you begin to think about this. Develop an entrepreneurial thinking. I don't mean that you become an entrepreneur. If you don't want to become, fair enough. There's nothing wrong. There are great jobs out there and you can do great things. You can lead great organizations working. Absolutely nothing wrong. Fantastic. But develop an entrepreneurial attitude. What does an entrepreneur do? An entrepreneur keeps on working till he succeeds. He never gives up. He tries things different ways, to succeed. So develop that mentality, Do what you love to do. Don't do something because somebody has told you to do. Don't do something because somebody has told you this is good to do. Don't do something because somebody has said this is what is useful tomorrow. No, do what you love to do. And I can give you 2 examples here actually from my own life. I have 2 daughters and we are a very large family. I have 62 first cousins. And you can imagine the number of nephews and nieces that I have from 62 first cousins. Okay? So, yes. So, when my daughters finished school, a lot of my nephews and nieces who were told to become engineers because my cousins saw me becoming an engineer and wanted their children to become an engineer. So a lot of these people came and started talking to my daughters that you have to become an engineer. And my elder daughter, she came to me and she said, Papa, everybody is pestering me. I don't like mathematics. So I said, it must be genetic because even I don't like mathematics. There must be something genetic in this. I said, it's not your fault, don't worry. So then I said, you are free to do what you want, but I want you to find out what you want to do. And just out of school, the mind is not yet prepared to make decisions. But I think as parents, that is the important job to do, is to help a child develop the mind to be able to make decisions, to understand where the decision is made wrong and then be able to correct it. So I told her, you are free to do what you want, you go and choose what you want to do. She's a fantastic writer. All my publications, I can tell you, are edited by her. And when she edits my publication and it goes to the publisher, they just send it straight for printing. And this is confessed to me by a couple of publishers. She is that good in what she does. And this was from her younger days. A great poet. Some of her poetry was fantastic. So I only made a suggestion. I said, do you like to write? She said, I don't know. I said, if at all you think you like to write, there is a course on journalism, you want to become a journalist, or whatever. I said, but you got to go and find out. I'm not going to tell you what to do. So she came back and she said, I will give it a try. She's a very good artist, great painter. And so I said, do you want to learn graphic designs? Because tomorrow that might be something that will interest you. So I told her, if you want to go do a course and try it out. So she went, did a course, tried it out. She said, I don't like it. I said, leave it. If you don't like it, find something that you like. And she completed this, with the idea that she may try to become a journalist. And when she finished her course, she came back and told me, she said, I don't like it. So I said, fine, fair enough. There's nothing wrong, Life is all about finding out what you like, chasing your passion. You must chase your passion, okay? You must find your own passion. So I said, go find out what else you like. And she said, I want to take a break. I said, take a break. Nothing is going to happen. I did not have this mentality of you losing 1 year and, stuff like that, because that is only valid, in the government of India, where they promote you not by your competence, but by your date of birth. So I said, forget it. Take a break, relax. Enjoy your life, try to find your passion, figure out what you want to do. Somewhere there, she connected with psychology, came back and told me, she said, Daddy, I think I like this subject, psychology. I said, fine, go give it a try. And if you find you don't like it, then forget it, we'll find something else that you will like. So she went, eventually, she did that. She was a topper for Bangalore University. She wanted to do her doctorate, but she did not find the right counsel in the area she was interested in. In the meanwhile, got married, went to the US, did something more in psychology. She even topped the university there. Why am I saying she topped? Not to say that she was a topper, but remember the difference is, when you really like something, you get so involved that you get good at it. If you really don't like it and you're not into it, then it is like you're doing something because you have to do something, or somebody has told you what to do, or you see everybody else doing something, and therefore it's like you're running in the middle of a herd of cattle. So today, she has her own license to consult, and in the area that she works today, she was telling me, I was there recently, she works with the local police, etc. there in counseling all these crazy cases, and the number of lives that she has actually saved in the process, people who wanted to shoot themselves, commit suicide, and all these crazy things happen in the US. And so she's absolutely so happy with what she does today. It was her passion, okay? And I can tell you another story of my second daughter, similar story, brilliant. Both of them were brilliant in academics. My second daughter also did her arts, BA. And she would score tons of marks in BA. And when she finished her BA, and I said, what do you like to do now? And she said, I don't know what I like to do. So I said, well, find out what you want to do. And she was trying to figure this out. In the meanwhile, I came across this course from Dale Carnegie Institute, and I said to her, would you like to do this Dale Carnegie Institute course? And I said, it's a course of personal excellence, and you might like it. And luckily, it was a short course of 6 months. So She said, okay, I'll give it a try. And so she did that course of personal excellence. And as soon as she did that course, she got a job as an HR manager in a software company. Now, a job as an HR manager in a software company is, to most people, it's very good, very safe, very sound, very lucrative, pays a lot of money. She went there for a few days, maybe a couple of months, and then came back to me and she told me, Daddy, I don't like this job. So I said, if you don't like the job, give it up. Go find out what you like. You see, it's important to connect with your passion, okay? Be driven from here, not from here. This is boundless. This is limited. Always remember this. So I told her, go find out what drives you, what's your passion. She liked dancing, and she was, a dance teacher with Shamak Davar. She used to go around with many of these Bollywood actresses when they were performing overseas. She was good. And so she said, that is one of things I like. I said, don't give it up. Continue that. And then she connected with yoga. She said, Daddy, I want to go do yoga. I said, go do yoga if you like. So she went, did yoga. She liked it. She came back. She said, I want to set up my own class. I said, fine, set it up. Whatever needs to be done, we'll do it. You do it, not I. I said, whatever needs to be done, you do it. And I will support you on this. She set up her own class. And then she got married, went to the US. She was so miserable in the US because, she's such a active person. But 6 months later, slowly she found out ways how she can set up her own classes. Today she runs 2 institutes in the US. One teaches dance and one teaches yoga. She endorses brands now in the US. She is called to judge shows. She is invited, she's kind of a celebrity in that part of the US where she lives. If she, you should see her walk in public areas. People recognize her, they turn back, people whisper, hey, that is so and so. The important thing is not that she's my daughter. I'm just telling you her story because it was this. Commit 2 things. Passion. All I did was help them find their passions. And today, both of them will never go to work. When you find your passion, you will never go to work. Okay? Because your work becomes your passion and you will enjoy it so much. And she was able to do this because she is committed to excellence, right? These are real life stories. I don't want to tell you stories from any books. This is all from my own life. Commit to excellence. Unless you're committed to excellence, right? How are you going to be differentiated from the mob? Do you want to be differentiated from the mob, or do you want to be part of the mob? All of us go to school, we go to college, and we think just because we have gone to school, gone to college, got a degree, we have learnt everything. Do you know what is the most important learning one needs to get from a college? What is the most important learning? What do you think is the single thing you should take back from this college when you finish? Only one thing. Knowledge. What else? No. You see, the only one thing, if you can take it back, that will carry you through your life. And that is the understanding of how to learn. If you can learn how to learn, only if you can learn how to learn, then success will chase you. I can tell you this. Okay? Unfortunately, we all think we know this. But sadly, none of us, ever practice it. Okay? So, I'll go back. I was doing an assignment, I was working in Southeast Asia on a contract. And after I did work here in Mysore Kirloskar. And I was not able to shift my family because of, the schooling issues and all that. But when I finished, my part of the role there and came back, I had 3 packages with me. My one package was my suitcase, and I had two other boxes. Maybe about 3/4 of this size each, boxes. So these boxes I had shipped, air freighted them as unaccompanied baggage, and I came with my suitcase as accompanied baggage. So when I landed, they told me that those boxes had to be examined by the customs, and I had to come the next day to get them cleared. I said, fair enough, I'll come. I took my suitcase in which I had my clothes and went home. So next day I went to the went to the customs. And he asked me to open it. So I opened the boxes, 2 boxes. And he started to go through the boxes, and he asked me, he said, "Is this all yours?" I said, "Yes, this is all mine." And he said, "Haven't you got anything else?" I said, "No, this is all that I had and this is all I've got." And he said, "No, I mean no TV, no music system, no this, no that." I said, "No, this is all that I was interested in and this is all I got." And you know why he was annoyed? He was annoyed. And why he was annoyed was, both those boxes, they just contained books and cassettes. There was absolutely nothing else in them. Books that I had I keep buying books regularly. So books that I had kept buying and reading, and cassettes that I used to listen, right? Remember what I told you, there are only 2 things that make you who you are: the books you read and the people that surround you, okay? If these 2 are real good quality, they will take you there. But if these 2 are inadequate, then that's where you will go, okay? So be careful. Continuous learning, you never stop to learn. It does not require a college degree to learn. Understand this. In a college degree, how many books will you read? How many textbooks do you have right now? How many? 11. And how many years is your course? How many textbooks will you read? How many? Not one fully. How many? 40 textbooks you will read. Okay. Now imagine if you read, listen to this. If you read 1 hour every day, how many hours will you read in a year? 365 hours, right? How many classroom sessions is that? If you read 2 hours in a day, how much will you read in 1 year? How much will you read in 10 years? How much will you read in 20 years? And do you know the truth? There is a research work done. An average human being does not read. An average human being does not read. Does not read means, yes, people read newspapers, people read some filmy magazines and this and that and all that. But when it says people do not read, it means people do not read into what will add value into their life. An average human being does not read. That's the global study. So if an average human being does not study, and by this process of reading 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, or if you like to read more, you read more, 1 book a month, 12 books in a year, 120 books in 10 years. In 10 years, how much more would you have learned than somebody else who reads 40 books, gets a degree, and stops to read? Who will grow more? Understand this. The importance of reading, continuous learning, okay? If you stop here, you are putting a stop to your career. You can forget success. Pay yourself first. When you start to earn, first learn to put money into your savings for yourself and then spend the rest of it. Don't do it the other way, okay? That's not a good way of doing. Understand the concept of servant leader, okay? If you want to become a leader, if you want to become a good leader, if you want to become a successful leader in whatever you do, then you must learn to serve others, right? Remember, you have to first be the servant before you can become the leader. And there are n number of examples on this when you look at, the life of so many great people. Rare quality, but great one. Who do you have to be honest to? Be honest to yourself. Are you honest to yourself? If I ask you more questions, you will realize you are not honest to yourself. I don't want to get into that. But, that's the common answer. Everybody says I'm honest to myself, right? On one side you say I want to be successful. On one side you will say these are my goals. This is what I want to achieve. But on the other side you are not doing what is necessary to become what you want to become. Are you honest to yourself? How can you be honest to yourself? No. So, be honest to yourself. Honesty, integrity, these are all great values that you need to imbibe. If you want to become successful, these real great qualities and values will carry you, a long way. Whatever you do, you can do it with speed. Anything you do, you can do it with speed, right? You have not studied enough, you want to study, time is short. If you really apply your mind, you can study, you can do it quickly, at least to the best possible extent. And I'll give you an example. I used to play different sports for the Karnataka University as well. And it so happened once in my final year engineering, we went to an inter-university tournament. And the inter-university tournament clashed with my first semester exams. So I told my parents, I want to go play cricket. I love playing cricket more than becoming an engineer, honestly. And so I said, I'm going to go play this tournament and I will come back and appear for all the papers later. So my parents did not say anything. They probably thought this fellow knows what he's going to do. And they kept quiet. I took that as an yes, approval, So I went off, and inter-university tournaments we used to be out for 3-4 weeks. And when we came back, I found that the exams were postponed, and there were 6 days for the exams. And so since I had already decided and announced that I'm not going to appear for the exam, I said, this is told and done, I'm not going to appear. So no studies. But you see, I had different friend circles, okay? And in the college, my friend circles, we were 4 of us, we were always together. The other 3 used to be first, second, third rank to the university, okay? I was the only odd one, but they let me in somehow. And so we were the 4 together always. So when I came back, I went around meeting my friends and telling them what happened in the inter-university tournament, how many runs I scored, how many wickets I took, and what happened each match, etc., etc. And then I said, I will let you guys go study because you got exams. And anyway, I'm not appearing, so I don't need to study. I'll go see a movie. But these 3 fellows caught hold of me, and they talked me through this process to such an extent. They argued it through with me that I have to appear for the exam. And they gave me a lot of reasons, this, that, etc. And they said, even if you fail anyway, it doesn't matter because you can appear second time. So because they were very close friends to me, I finally agreed. And since I had agreed, I had to go study now. I had 5 days and 5 subjects. First thing I did was write a timetable, how my 5 days is going to, be the next 5 days. I wrote a timetable. I stuck to that timetable. I had to study 1 subject a day. That's all I had. And I didn't know how, I was not sure whether I did well or not well. So I was really not interested in seeing the results when it came because honestly I was afraid. I knew I had not adequately studied. But in those days the results used to be announced in the paper. And in the morning, 6:30 I get a call from one of my friends and he looks at the paper and he says, hey Sanjeev, your results have come. I said, yeah, maybe don't disturb me, I'm sleeping now. And then he told me, he said what the result was. And then I really woke up. I went, found the paper on the front door, picked it up and saw it for myself. There are only 10 numbers there in the first class and mine was one of them. So, again, the point is not about me. The point is, go back, yeah? If you put your mind to it, not only can you do anything, but if you can do it with speed when you have to do. Life is going to take you through these ups and downs. Okay, there are going to be peaks, there are going to be troughs. And in some lives there are more troughs than peaks. And one of the greatest things to learn really is how to climb from a trough to a peak. Okay, every time you fall, falling is all right, but if you fail to get up and move forward, that is accepting defeat, right? So learn, to climb peak to peak. Success is built on great character, okay? Don't expect to be successful without developing your character. And self-discipline is part of developing this, okay? How you are going to conduct yourself. So how you're going to conduct yourself. And success principles has got certain things that if you do certain things in a certain manner, nothing can actually stop you from becoming successful, okay? So learn this self-discipline, like the routine. And self-discipline, I don't know to what extent these are taught today in the schools, but something that needs to be inculcated from the house. The way you behave not only reflects on you, but reflects on your upbringing. If you behave badly, it reflects on your upbringing. If you behave really well, that reflects on your upbringing. And your upbringing is basically what education you get from your house from your nearest surrounding and from your formative, school days. Be creative, be innovative. If you want to be successful, you need to be bubbling with ideas. Doesn't matter whether your ideas are right or wrong, but you need to try it out. You need to find out what is right, what is not right. But you need to be bubbling with ideas. You need to be creative. If you are not creative, then forget success. We have talked about this. Get around the right people. Be physically fit. I don't know how many of you are regularly into doing something that keeps yourself fit, whether you play, whether you run, whether you cycle, or whether you do your yoga or you do whatever, okay? Physical fitness, because if you are not physically fit, you are not mentally fit. Never give up, persevere, like what I said before. Try and read this book. This is a great book, Failing Forward. Every time you fail, learn to get up. Okay, so try and read this book. It will teach you how to learn from your failures. It will teach you how to get up each time you fall and move forward. We've talked about persistence, right? Remember, success is not in a designation, okay? Success is not in a designation. Success is not in a rank. Success is not in a degree. Success is not necessarily in the amount of money you make, or the car you drive, etc. These are all successes, maybe of different kinds, okay? But when you really want to succeed, means what? You want to add value somewhere, to somebody, someone's life, to a nation. You want to be a contributor into something. Try to understand everything that I have, shared with you so far. And remember, like I said, the closer you get to excellence in your life, the more friends you will lose. People love you when you are average because it makes them comfortable. People are comfortable because you are average. Today, a lot of you are huddled up because your huddle is average. None of them probably excel anyone in that huddle. And so you're very comfortable. But the moment somebody outshines in that group, you want to outcast him because you don't like him. He's become better, right? This is reality. But be prepared to lose friends. If you go to my website, you will find a lot of my publications there. There are a lot of character qualities that you need to develop if you want to become a successful leader. Put in a lot of publications there, you can read. It will give you an idea of what each one means and how you can, if you don't have that quality, how you can actually imbibe that quality. Okay? All of that is there. Remember this, there's one reason people fail to reach their goals. Now all of you said you have goals, but revisit this thought maybe 5 years from now. Have you achieved the goals that you had set 5 years ago? You see, a lot of people say yes, but a lot of people never achieve their goals because they never take the first step. And what I've tried to share with you today are all those various strategies that you can put into your own life and succeed. Okay? All the best to you.